feels like that we have actually accomplished at least a measure of justice for Victoria Minor. For the last almost 4 years now, when I've come in this office, her picture on this wall is the first thing that I've looked at. And my determination in this case was to achieve justice for her. It's not, in a sense, a cause for any kind of celebration. You know, we've had a little dead baby and we've had a man sentenced to death, and that's a very serious matter. Although they may not believe it, I do have a great deal of sympathy for Mr. Blakeney's family, because they've been injured by this too, particularly his father, who seemed like an extremely decent man. But you know, we're all responsible for our own actions, and parents and relatives can't control what their other relatives do. That's the bottom line. When I came up here, I took an oath to uphold the laws of the state of Mississippi, and part of those is in cases where people murder little 2-year-old babies, it provides for the imposition of the death penalty when a jury deems it appropriate. Since I've been here for 10.5 years, I think that people have understood that when I start something, I don't quit until it's over with. When Justin Blakeney was arrested for this dastardly crime of killing this little baby, there wasn't any of this Aryan Brotherhood stuff. He was arrested based on the medical evidence, the evidence of the doctors in this case, who explained that there's no way that it could have happened like he said. I don't know how he did it. I don't have to prove how he did it. It's just that he did it. And we know that, and the jury knew that. Now, all the stuff about the Aryan Brotherhood is things that he gave us while he was in jail. You know, he turned out to be the gift that keeps on giving, because he couldn't keep his mouth shut about his filthy racist ideology with the Aryan Brotherhood, who has a philosophy of supremacy and runs around tattooing themselves with swastikas and SS marks of people who ran the extermination camps. And it just so happened that I happened to run into something when I started to leave the house. It's a little pen that my father had from the 35th Infantry Division, where he was in Normandy in northern France, the Rhineland, the Ardennes, and fighting in World War II against the people that this man chose to emblazon their emblem on his chest and idealize, who thinks it's all right to kill certain classes of people because they're subhuman. And that's just especially repulsive. To quote his lawyer, he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. But that's not a reason to go around. There's a lot of dull knives that don't go around killing little 2-year-old babies. It's just been a constant struggle, but I was determined, you know, I wasn't going to quit till this is over with. Now, one way or the other, I won't be here much longer in this particular office, but I was determined I was going to stay to see this through to a conclusion, because I've been looking at little Victoria every day. I was in on this from the day it happened. But I want to specifically mention Don Scott and Tanya Madison and Nick Messersmith of the Jones County Sheriff's Department, who have been my right-hand people. And if it hadn't been for these people who work for Sheriff Hodge, we wouldn't be able to be here today, because they are a perfect example of what happens when law enforcement cooperates with the district attorney's office and we work together. We got our evidence before Mr. Blakeney was charged with this crime, and it was based on what the doctor said and what he kept saying in the interviews that he gave, that we were able to determine beyond any doubt that he was responsible for Victoria's death. As long as I'm around, when that kind of reprehensible activity happens in this county, I'm going after them, and I ain't quitting till they go down or they take me down. Make no mistake about it, Mr. Blakeney's defense team out of Jackson had just as many or more resources than we had, so he had the best that was available, because the taxpayers of Mississippi pay for their office too, and they do cover the whole state, but they got a heck of a budget to run around and do what they do too, and that's fine, but it's not like he didn't have the resources he needed to effectively defend his case. His problem was they were trying to defend the indefensible.